And I'm here in studio with Boy Ladd, who has done many things. You're a powwow MC, you teach dance, you've been involved in politics, and you also support Native veterans in a lot of your work. You're technically retired, but I know you're busy. You're also connected to your culture, your Ho-Chunk and Zuni. When you saw these young people dancing, trying to connect with their culture and improve their health in Los Angeles, is that happening here in New Mexico too?
Not too much. Most of everybody around here are what I call practitioners. They just go out and learn the hard way, OJT and getting out there, but without not necessarily any kind of formal instruction, no, not really. You know, there've been little cultural programs implemented in a couple of the pueblos, but not in a sense of what they did in the urban setting, no.
Well, what do you think when people are dancing or running, any kind of physical activity, how does that help other areas of their life, their physical health or their academics?
Well, I've been fortunate in using dance and politics, so to speak, to travel the world in many different capacities, but most importantly, learning a lot from their culture and their way of life. And I've kind of implemented and taken a lot of the positives from other regions, other countries, other societies, and brought it home and teaching a lot of our younger children, instilling culture, tradition, respect, and most importantly, spirituality, you know, and not in the sense of religion, but the spirit and believing in oneself. And part of my function is to make an extrovert out of an introvert. In many cases, a lot of our native children are growing up with different principles, different lifestyles. And from there, you try to apply the principles and how can I make this a better person, a better student, in this case, a better dancer out of them. So taking the principles, being a former physical education teacher and then a PT instructor in the military, I took these principles and applied it to a book in dance, teaching dance, where I've set it down. I've taught probably over 2,000 students in my lifetime dance, and many of them have gone on to become world champions, singing, dancing, all relevant to powwow. But you know, again, what you're talking about, the physical part, it's a majority of things. I mean, you look at the lifestyles here in the Southwest among the Pueblos, the Navajo, the Dene, and then the Apache. They have sacred runs, you know, and it's basically to gain that certain blessing, that spirit connection between Mother Earth. And in dance, it's the same thing. Of course, in the world of powwow, we exemplify what our warriors, our veterans had gone through. And so from that, thus you see the feathers, the beadwork, the colors, the women's role and the men's role, and all the different things that are relevant to the world of powwow. But again, when you look at the spiritual side, you know, it makes a better person, you know, out of each individual, each student. And my goal is, of course, to make them a champion, you know, if that's what they choose to be. But in looking at that video that you had, it sends a child in the sense of direction, wanting to attain culture and dance in another way of respect, you know, and I admire that. That's great. But those that have those programs, great, you know, super. But I'm just sorry that we don't have enough of that here in New Mexico.
Do you think young folks getting involved in the powwow community, traveling around, practicing their dance, working on their regalia, do you think that helps them take care of their health, their mental or physical health?
Oh yes, definitely, by far. You know, it gives them that certain affirmation, that feeling of participation and pride. You know, all our children are emanating the pride of our parents and what they do, and their grandparents, what have you. And dance, yes, it's probably the most visible of all our arts in the Native world. And dance music, you know, being a graduate at the Art Institute in Santa Fe kind of opened that door for me and gave me a certain identity, but yet I went beyond that and carried it to a much higher level where dance has become more than a profession, is a way of life for our people. And thus being a way of life, you know, encompasses everything, lifestyle, everything that we do in life. I taught up in Canada for a number of years, for about a good 10 years, from Saskatchewan to northern Quebec, all the way to the Arctic Circle, and gone into communities where they never know what dance is, what powwow was, and it was intriguing. It was kind of unique, but again, looking at the identity, looking at the youth, you know, the elders are pretty much set in their own ways. You can't teach an old dog new tricks, so to speak, but you know, the elders are set in their way, and the church did a big, whether positive or negative, had a big impact on the styles in Canada. But in the US, it was the same thing. And what happened is today the youth are the ones that are trying to go outside the reservations and going to Ottawa, to the capital, what have you, and getting out and seeing the world, so to speak. But the elders keep everything at home, and so they keep that strength of the church so strong there. So the youth are the ones that are into powwow and culture and tradition, because the church does not necessarily look at powwow in a positive nature. They think of it as devil worship, so to speak. But it's not like that until, like I said, I've been brought in to change and give them an understanding. So every class I always have people from the clergy, from the church come, and it makes it a better environment. And the people, they love it, and enjoy it. They learn from it. That's the youth. We have to try to emphasize teaching a lot of the principles, respect and everything to the youth. But again, based on the teachers' experience, some are lucky. You can't put all the different tribes or nations in one bushel basket and say, all you Native, all you Indian people. It don't work that way. I mean, we're all distinct. We have probably over 1,500 different tribes or nations here in Canada and the United States, and no two of them are the same. Even here in the Pueblos of the Southwest, they may be 5 miles apart from one another, but yet they do not get along. There's certain animosities, certain things between them. You look at the world of Heydushka or the world of powwow, and it's the same principle. Some agree with it, and some don't agree with it. And it's very hard at times around the area. In a city and urban environment, yes, we can work with that. We can apply those principles, those classes in there, but not in a Pueblo. It doesn't work that way. And Apaches, they also have their lifestyle, so yeah.
This, history, all these things are so important to talk about holistically when we talk about health and wellness. In your travels and in your going into different Native communities in the United States, do you think people are talking about the idea of wellness, the idea of health in a different way now than they were before?
Well, in the world of powwow or Heydushka, there's a certain spirit. There's a spirit involved with it, and not in the connotation of religion, but a spirit of oneself. Culture, pride, veterans, warriors, all of what we believe in our way in the world of powwow, what we believe in. Years ago, there was a gentleman that came to me, an elder, and he said, boy, he said, powwow is a religion. And I said, no, we have our own way at home. Our own tradition's been around for over 1,000 years, I said. And to say that's kind of, even though I'm a big powwow man, I kind of somewhat disagree. But over the years, times have changed where powwow today, there is healing, your spirituality, prayer, family making, everybody getting along with it, and which basically constitutes almost a similarity to the what we call believing in Christianity or the church or what have you, But we have our own way, our traditions. You go to the Pueblos, some of them are sacred, Sacred is something that is secret, and so thus, as long as it maintains its sacredness, it has power. But once it's exposed, then it lacks that. And so we're very protective, especially here in the Southwest. Anything that is sacred, they're not allowed to photograph, and they're not allowed to record in any shape or form. And sometimes even participation, you're not allowed to. So, but powwow is something that's open to the public, anybody and everybody. And I oftentimes say, just use your senses, touch, feel, smell, taste. And once you understand your senses, then you understand what powwow, the makeup of what powwow is about. You gain a better. I always say for the non-native and the people that are new to our circle, just open your mind, your heart, and your eyes, your ears. Listen and watch, and then you learn a lot. You learn a lot from what it has. Again, I'm talking about the spiritual side, something you can't quite feel. You can only inside, So.
Boy Lad, thank you so much for coming by and talking with us this week.
Well, thank you.
Appreciate your
It's an honor to
perspective.
be here, and thank you.